One of the most effective ways to organize a persuasive speech is to use the problem-solution pattern. Notice how this speaker explains a problem and then offers a solution.
Imagine that you go on vacation in the American Southwest, and in your hotel gift shop you see a beautiful Navajo blanket. The label says it was made painstakingly by a Native American weaver. The price is fantastic, only $45, so you buy it. But there is one fact that you might like to know. This blanket was not made by a Navajo weaver. It was mass-produced along with thousands of identical blankets in a factory in China. Unfortunately, this is a common scenario. You might think it's a harmless deception, but today I want to show you that counterfeiting has a devastating impact on some American Indian communities. And then I want to give you a solution to the problem. First, let's look at the extent of the problem. Counterfeit crafts are widespread and they are hurtful. The U.S. Senate Committee on Indian Affairs says that the sale of Native American crafts exceeds $1 billion a year, and it estimates that 60% of these crafts are counterfeit. They are called counterfeit because they do not clearly tell where they were produced, and they are sold as genuine native crafts. Now, I want to make one thing very clear. I'm not opposed to imitation crafts being produced overseas and sold in this country. If you go into a gift shop and you see a headband like this and it's clearly labeled "Made in the Philippines," that's fine. You can buy it if you want to. What bothers me is if I see a headband and it is falsely labeled as made by Native Americans. I want to know the truth. I want to have a choice. This is a dream catcher, which is very popular right now. This and other crafts are sold in gift shops and tourist attractions, but most of them are made overseas, and they are incorrectly labeled as made by Native Americans. According to the Attorney General of the state of New Mexico, Patricia Madrid, many Native American crafters are being forced out of business because they cannot compete with mass-produced crafts. This ring was made by a Native American silversmith in New Mexico. It was made by hand and it took many days to complete. It costs $900. But counterfeit copies of this ring mass-produced in Taiwan cost only $80. As you can see, there is no way that the silversmith can compete. Cheap counterfeit crafts from overseas have wrecked the economies of Indian tribes. They've caused many reservations to have an unemployment rate of 50%. For example, the Zuni tribe gets almost 2/3 of its tribal income from crafts. Overseas imitations have caused severe unemployment and poverty. The Hopis have been hurt because their highly prized Kachina dolls are being mass-produced in China. By the way, many of the examples come from the American Southwest, but other parts of the country are also affected. In my research, I found that counterfeit crafts are hurting native crafters in Alaska, the Pacific Northwest, California, Minnesota, New York, and other places. They hurt the Seminole in Florida, the Cherokee in North Carolina, and Oklahoma. Now that we've seen the problem, let's turn to the solution. We need to use the force of law to eliminate counterfeit crafts. We need to punish a person who knowingly sells this ceremonial rattle as something made by an American Indian, if in fact it is made in Pakistan. Shouldn't there be a law requiring clear disclosure? Yes, and there is one already on the books. The Indian Arts and Crafts Act, passed in 1935, imposes stiff fines for misrepresenting Indian arts or crafts and not telling the country of origin. A violator faces a $250,000 fine and up to 5 years in prison. The problem is the law has never been enforced, according to a tribal leader, Jacob H. Lonetree, who is president of the Ho-Chunk Nation. The federal government doesn't even have a full-time person assigned to investigate violators. So the solution is obvious. The law that is already on the books needs to be enforced. The federal government should assign at least 5 agents to investigate and prosecute violators. At the end of the hour, I have a petition that I urge you to sign. It will be sent to our federal legislators asking them to pressure the federal government to take action. In the meantime, what can you do as an individual? If you want to buy Native American crafts, try to do so on an Indian reservation, not in places like a hotel gift shop. And be prepared to pay more. A crafter who has spent days and days creating an object of beauty has to charge more than a factory that produces an imitation in a matter of seconds. Let's review. If people want to buy authentic Native American crafts, they should be able to do so without fear of getting an imitation. We should push the federal government to enforce the anti-counterfeiting law that is already on the books. I challenge you to join with me in helping Native American crafters. They make beautiful work by hand, and it deserves the protection of law. Please sign my petition at the end of the hour. Thank you.